Hi everyone, and this is our Pyjama Talks in the field, and our guest today is Alex Chudesnov. Hi Alexander.
Hi.
First of all, what do you do and who are you?
I'm a front-end developer at Wrike, or should I call it Citrix now. I do accessibility work here, and my tomorrow talk will be about how we manage implementing accessibility across the product, which is a very large product, which is a very large team. And right now, it's sort of my responsibility to make sure that the product is keeping better.
Accessibility is kind of a hot topic today, right?
Yeah, well, I was actually it was pointed out to me that accessibility is a bit broader term than it is maybe in developers' circles. People talk about accessibility in a broader sense as, for example, when you try to access Netflix and it says that this film is not developed in the region, it's also an issue of accessibility. Yeah, but it also can be an issue of content being not prepared for a certain audience, being too specific, to having a lot of jargon, technical words. But yeah, one thing we are focused on here is accessibility for people with disabilities, like people who, for example, cannot use or having trouble using the mouse, or even the regular keyboard, or people who have hearing issues. Well, essentially, the idea of accessibility is not addressing some specific set of disabilities. It's more of creating an environment where we essentially expect that anyone, literally anyone, can access our website, our application, and in a way that's useful to them. Often people say that usability and accessibility are interconnected.
Yeah.
And I guess that's true. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess it depends. It depends on your product.
Yeah. And accessibility, well, I believe probably 10 years ago it wasn't a thing. I mean, what have changed? We have technical possibilities to work with accessibility, or something.
I don't know if this is a good analogy, but yeah, like fashion, it goes in waves. It changes. Maybe you remember it that way, that 10 years ago accessibility was not top of everyone's mind. But probably that's because prior to that, when the web platform was only starting to emerge, there was simply no such complexity that would require specific work to improve accessibility. Because HTML, as you probably know, is inherently accessible.
Yeah.
One of its core principles was that it's accessible to machines, to people. Everyone can access it. It's lightweight, and it's easy to write it. It's easy to read it, and it's easy to it's not so easy to parse it. But that's developers' problem. But yeah, as we go further into the rich internet application thing, single-page application thing, priorities start to change. People implement many things on top of the browser. They start to work around certain things, like around history and around focus management, around network. So yeah, a lot of things change, and now we have to kind of get back to the basics and remember our principles and express our commitment to them.
Yeah. These days, developers, they should know a lot of things. They should know algorithms, front-end developers like bundlers, performance, and on top of that, like a cherry on top of the cake, is accessibility. Is it necessary, or should we have some special people for special accessibility, and that's it?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. There is always this thing of T-shaped specialists or very narrow specialists, but I guess that again it's a fluid thing. When you start developing an app, you need to be a jack of all trades. That usually means that you're not necessarily very good at all of them, but you can do all of them. And I think with accessibility, it's kind of the same. When you're starting out, when you're building a new app, it's our responsibility to encourage people who make frameworks, who make some end-user technology to make it accessible. But I'd say that situation is good enough. at a time. Of course, as you get larger, as you invent things maybe inside your product, or suddenly some old bank decided to rework their internet banking system. You may face challenges, because that's like one of the topics of my talk, that if you work with it from the start, from the UX concept, it's less likely that you'll face those like impossible challenges, because it does happen when you have a user interface that was designed only with like mouse in mind and keyboard only as a separate like add-on for power users. It can be a great challenge to make it actually work across all those mediums. But if you design from the start with accessibility in mind, if you do prototypes, if you iterate on the work you do, if you try to get feedback, I'd say it's not that different from, I don't know, developing any concept into a real application, into a real product.
Accessibility, it looks like it is very simple from the one point of view, but sometimes it can be shady, and for example, there is no one book about accessibility from A to Z or something like this.
Well, some people would argue that there is a book.
There is a book.
It's called Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. There's no ultimate guide on how to do everything. But that's okay, because there's no ultimate guide on how to do apps in general, how to do business in general. Of course, there are some core principles, and those you can use, those you can like base your work upon. With accessibility, it's well, like I said, it's the same as any other field. You can bootstrap something, you can help people get like and start doing something with their hands, be successful. But it's all in the experience. And as a community, we just need to communicate more about them. We need to find those best practices, and hopefully, most of them will be merged back into the browser, and we will just have it as a platform feature, not just some invention and proprietary technology.
Can you maybe, for those who will maybe not watch it, or maybe they will watch it later, so maybe short pitch, main arguments, main ideas behind your talk?
What I start my talk with is this proposition. So we are this company, and we have this application. It's a platform that encourages collaboration. It's built around collaboration, but there are those like inherent barriers that there are there because of technology, because of gaps in support in browsers and something. Also, we have a large team where people come from different backgrounds. They have different experience, but we still need to make sure that like everything works. The clock ticks and time goes on. I try to go from the basics, the easiest things that you can maybe learn in a week, to those tricky ones that really don't just depend on you, like knowing the technology, or I don't know, your designer reading those guidelines, but those things that are sort of dependent on the community as a whole. It's like a more social thing. So I'm talking about how to do less of the routine work that can be automated, that can be standardized, and how to find those things when you need collaboration, you need feedback, you need constant iteration, constant improvement, and how to start the journey. Because like many other things, this is a journey. You started on it, then you face some challenges. You may be discouraged by them, but then like you overcome them, and that's the part where I want people to feel when they hear the end of my talk. That like even with all those obstacles, technological obstacles, organizational obstacles, you can reach a state where you're confident. You know that you're imperfect, like all of us are, but you know where you can improve, you know how to do it, and you have people around you that support you in that.
Thanks for your time, thanks for being here, and good luck with your talk, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, thank you.